Basil with a twist. You're the founder. Many people don't know about it. So today we bring the face behind. So how did it all start? Was it by choice or was it by chance?
Thank you, Shiv, for inviting me for your podcast, and it's a wonderful initiative from your side.
Thank
All the
you.
best. God bless you. And hospitality was my choice, but Basil with a twist was definitely an accident, I would say. I met a gentleman, Serbian gentleman from, at Haridwar, and we casually discussed how Indian restaurant business is and how we could do something different, not the usual stuff. And that's how Basil with a Twist was born. And
So as far as I know, it started in 2014, and my personal experience in this restaurant has been great. I have enough memories in Basil with a Twist, and my initial days, I have spent a lot of time there talking to you and doing a lot of work. So what was the thought behind starting this when you say that you wanted something to be unique about hospitality business that you're starting, and you arrived to start an European restaurant? Why European? I mean, there are other, like you could have gone for Indian, you could have gone for Italian, something which is already working out in the market well. I think that's what every entrepreneur initially would try to work when it comes to hospitality segment. But you chose a very specific genre which is European. So what made you decide and continue with this?
see, Italian was doing very well here. Like pastas and pizzas were doing good, and South Indian anytime. Okay, give good quality. You'll become successful in a year or two.
Right.
This guy is from Serbia,
Okay.
and they do not allow GMO products in their country. Though economically they are not very powerful,
Okay.
they're very, very conscious of what they eat. Even meat, they do not use any junk ingredients, in their cooking. They still follow their grandma style of cooking,
Right.
which is a slow cooking method, and they use lot of vegetables. And the vegetarian dishes are also very good. I'm a vegetarian. When I got to learn this from him, I was really, intrigued, and I did some research on it. He was very confident of bringing in his cuisine with his own team of chefs from his country. His family, I think, was running resto bar, and his brother was having ski resorts. He was hands-on, and with his support, I thought I would bring in something new to Chennai market. I was a big fan of Italian food, thanks to my son, and I learned, and it was very fancy, those days, 15 years ago, when a few brands were getting launched. So I wanted to travel in that direction. So here we are, 10 years over.
So almost a decade and counting. So today when we look back, I have a series of questions to ask you.
Sure.
Idea is one thing, but
Yeah.
executing it is another thing when it comes to Indian market.
Yeah.
So every day, a lot of people, when they meet for a cup of coffee or tea, they tend to discuss a lot of business ideas. But converting that into, and executing it is a difficult job. So when you decided that you want to go ahead with this theme, what were your initial points that you penned down to start a restaurant? Like from the demographic perspective, from the choice of food, how the menu was designed. So can you elaborate on your experience before starting?
Haridwar we discussed, okay, it was in 2013, and it was a casual chat, but grew bigger then I called my husband to find out the feasibility of starting something like this. So the initial estimate was about, according to inputs like chefs, package, and their lifestyle expenses here, all that put together, it came to 2 to 3 crore. And he wanted to have it in Bangalore,
Okay.
which was an evolved market compared
Exactly.
to Chennai. So that definitely, even if I had that kind of money, my family wouldn't have been approve of it. So I had to tell Bogdan, no, I'm in Chennai, I'm a Chennaiite, and I have people to support me, so it is better to start in Chennai. So we reworked on the cost, and my husband contributed a lot in terms of understanding initial capital outlay, everything. Initially it was scary. Okay. And then I started working at a micro level. Okay. So 2.5 crore, then I divided into 4 parts, and I started approaching my friends who all could contribute in terms of investments. Not many of them, no, not even one or two could say yes, because everybody knew industry, this industry especially, success rate is very low.
Yes.
And especially when you experiment with a concept like this, it's not that easy. And in Chennai, it's not at all easy.
Exactly.
Meet so many bankers, but every time, some places I was criticized, some places I was even insulted. Some people said, you do not have the relevant background. How will you even start a restaurant? How will you run it? So those questions, in fact, gave me more this to get into it aggressively. 13 August I started exploring. Then around November, December, I knew I was getting in there very seriously. I had a friend, his name is Prasanna Venkatesh. For the first time he said, something really interesting, but it will take some time. It's a very, very slow process. F&B is not easy, and especially this kind of concept. Bringing in white chefs, that part alone, I'm not very sure. You have to work your math very well.
Right.
And if you are willing to give at least 5 years, if you are willing to wait for 5 years patiently and keep investing, playing, yes, then there is a chance. But definitely this idea is interesting, and it will work immediately in Bangalore and other places, but Chennai will take time. But it's good that you brought up something new, he said. And then bankers, almost 15, 16 bankers I approached. Through a friend of mine, I met a nationalized banker, and MSME loan happened for 1/3 of my requirement. That was a big thing for me, because we could furnish the kitchen with that support.
It could give you a start that you always wished for.
Yes.
Right.
And the rentals were very high, and I wasn't willing to take that kind of risk.
Right.
Paying 5 lakh or 4 lakh per month toward rental.
It was too much on place to deal with.
Yes,
to begin,
overheads. Yes. So we searched almost 14, 15 places, and finally I decided to give an ad myself. I said, looking for this. So that makes a difference, because going through brokers and middlemen, sometimes you have to make compromises. Right. So and the landlords, genuine ones, they also want to see how serious
one person is about
the business. And I gave ad saying, looking for this kind of place, and it happened. Right. So since then, a bank loan happened, and he brought in those 2 chefs. They were in star properties in Serbia and US. So we started off with a big bang, and rest is a history.
So how much time did it take from the idea phase till the start? What was the duration like?
So August 2013.
The idea was
Yeah,
into the
conceived.
minds
No,
of you and
June.
okay,
The idea, the casual chat, I would
yeah,
say, in Haridwar, and then June, July, August onwards, I started putting in my mind every day, every day, and then July, exactly 1 year, July 9th, we launched.
okay.
So
So let's say 365 days of intense planning, designing strategies on how to make it work and everything. So once it started, I believe that was the time when even digital media was evolving in India. Not much scope to promote like how we have it today. Like today we have food influencers coming, we have bloggers coming,
yeah,
and there are various ways to promote. But back then it was only traditional as
yes.
digital media was evolving. How was the response from the people when day one the inauguration happened? How did people come to know about the place, and what was the initial response that came from the people who came to the restaurant to try?
Yeah. Uh, I didn't want to mention European restaurant anywhere
Right.
because European fine dine or casual or family dine. I didn't want to mention anything because honestly, I was very scared how the market would respond. So, suppose we give a explanation in branding process, we call ourselves something, and if the customer's acceptance is not there
It
for
will
that,
backfire.
yes. So I didn't actually, even now we don't have it.
Hmm.
Now we can call ourselves so and so, but that
Back
point of
then it was
time,
start phase.
very
So yeah.
scared, honestly. I don't know what to, I wouldn't call it scaring thing, but um, we weren't very sure how Chennai market will see us in this space. So we just left it at Basil with a twist. Then slowly with these Europe and launch again, our marketing agency suggested that we should bring in a leading
Celebrity
pop
or something
singer,
to cut the ribbon,
cut the ribbon and spend. They
spend some
suggested
bomb.
some
Yeah,
10
yeah,
lakh or something, which we didn't have honestly.
yeah. Right.
I said no. Let's cancel all that. Let's invite the
Soft
bank
launch.
manager who
Right. Who approved the loan?
approved the loan. So let's do it that way. So we launched, and within a week's time, and these Europeans, these three guys, tall, hefty, making noises and
Yeah,
all
sure.
positive, yes, all those, it was magical.
Okay.
Okay. And slowly people started
So the
coming in.
vibe was excellent and people
Yeah,
welcomed it with a
yeah.
very open heart.
Yeah, and that time, it not many restaurants. I don't know even we had any those days open, transparent kitchen. So it was open kitchen, all three
I think
sides
many
people can
five
see.
stars had, but standalone restaurant didn't have much.
Yeah.
I always seen the closed kitchen only.
Yeah, you can have one side, but I don't remember having seen any open kitchen like that those days. It's the 3,000 square feet and 77 seater those days. So that I think attracted this
Many
because
people.
they see people in action in the kitchen
Yeah,
with
yeah.
fire and making noise, chef's coat, and that was
It was a
that
good
set
sight to
the-
watch.
Yes. And then slowly media started coming in.
How different the market back then, like say a decade back, and today is. Do you, if I give you a situation where you need to start something of similar sort in 2025, do you think you would take that step? Or was it easy when you look at the policies, the laws and everything today, do you think it was easy to start back then, or is it easy to start now?
Now it is easy.
Now it is easy to
Yeah.
start. And why
Governments
do
are
you feel
actually.
so? Is it because of startup policies and startup funding that we have?
Yes.
Okay.
So now, thanks to Shark Tank kind of
Yeah.
the reach is very high, and startup India, startup Tamil, so many.
So that is definitely helping out
Yeah,
the
helping.
aspiring entrepreneurs.
Sure. Now it's very easy.
So it is more inclusive, more protective, and a platform to fellow entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs mainly to kickstart their journey.
Exactly. And those days, like this, we didn't have a technology.
Hmm.
Now, if people come to know that ordinary person like Bhagirathi, who did not have a background of food industry, started this, and 10 years she's surviving and she's growing. Those kind of stories were not available online.
Correct.
We had to buy books.
To actually learn how does this work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the data, now everything is online. We can download reports paying some dollars. And those days it was all manual. There were organizations called ORG and IMRB where people pay money to get the data, demography details, marketing, where your actual customers are. Now it's easy. It's relatively in terms of finances.
So one common perspective that every Indian has towards a foreign cuisine is that the cost wise it is too high and quantity wise it is too low, right? And we come from a background where quantity plays a major role, like South Indian meals. I am myself a sambar lover. So when something like this is served on a table, we tend to always think that are we paying more or is the quantity less? Either of the thoughts. So for our audience, can you break down that how does a price of a particular dish is fixed? What are the breakdown mechanisms that goes into it? For example, if you're serving a dish which is worth 350 rupees, these 350 rupees covers what all?
I think in 2010 or 9, I don't remember. For the first time, I tried ravioli in a 5-star property.
Right.
So family outing, and I tried. It was some special occasion. A fancy dish, ravioli. I read somewhere. So I wanted to place order. There were 4 pieces of ravioli on the plate. I didn't know, is it the full dish or something else is coming? Then I realized this is what it is. And it was, I think back then it was 700, 800 bucks per dish. So I knew, ingredients costs are very high when it comes to international cuisine. But as far as costing is concerned, earlier when we started, there were very few importers, 1 or 2, who were doing this, especially from European countries. They've been doing it for ages.
So you mean to say that there were few raw materials which we were not getting in India? Or were you particular about getting that same type of raw material which people in European country used to make European food? Were you particular
Even
about
now, we do not get everything unless there are some specialty restaurants who are importing directly, and people have to pay price for it.
So the breakdown includes the raw material?
Raw material cost.
Okay. Which is the main aspect of the price?
No, it's actually the rental, the infrastructure, rental, electricity, which is very high these days, and salaries, and then the raw material cost. Raw material cost in South Indian and other Indian restaurants.
It is predominantly low because it is easily available?
It is low, but it's all bulk cooking and the wastage will be more. Here we start making only after the order is placed. And very minimal prepared food is available in the kitchen. So if we prepare some quantity, for dinner session, it will get over for dinner and there's no carry forward. So in that way, the wastage is very minimal in European restaurant. I mean, Italian, European, international kitchen. South Indian and this, the wastage is more is what I guess, I can calculate and see. So ingredients cost, the cheese, the vegetables that we use, vegetables, colored capsicums and zucchinis, they are at least 10 times more than our country vegetables.
Okay. So they are 10 times more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And you cannot source it from here, you need to source it from outside.
no, they are coming from other states. I mean, I
Right.
don't know whether
But the cost is high.
very high.
Very high. Okay.
So broccoli, for example, we use a lot of broccoli, and definitely the cost is going to go up.
Correct.
So it's from 240 rupees to 350 rupees. Um,
A lot of things goes into deciding the price of a dish. At the end of the day, in the 10 years of your journey, and I think I've experienced and I've been seeing you since 2015, 9 years, 9.5 years. You have survived one flood, good 2-3 years of COVID, and several natural calamities that has happened in the last 9 years. And if I could recollect, I think November, December always used to be some problem or the other. How did you sail through?
2015 was a disaster.
Disaster.
Floods.
1 year
And,
since you started.
Yeah, it was in
1.5 years
even,
probably.
14 July and December. Those days we were getting a lot of expats, okay, and 60% of our revenue was coming from them.
Right.
And this floods, this location where we were was flooded maroon. And foreigners do not step out
In these times. Right.
So solid 1.5 to 2 months, they didn't come at all. They didn't come out at all. So we suffered a lot. Then that's the only this, I don't know where to address this. I wanted bankers' support. I went and approached. They said you have to get a revenue department's letter proving that you had this in your area. And if I provide my address of business, they should know. They have all
Correct.
the data with them. But somehow there is some gap where we have to prove to them, like this is what we went through during floods and you have to support us. Didn't happen, no support. And again, Varda was another, that was a time I think stormwater work was on halfway through.
Yeah.
And
this
the roads
happened.
were open.
Yeah.
So it was like people were not able to come inside the building. So that was another, it was like
When you realized that 60% of your business
yeah,
was coming from the expats.
those
right?
days,
Yeah,
yes.
those days. For a second, did you think that I should have thought in a way where how I can connect dots between Indians, can curate some more and bring that Indian touch to this European cuisine? Did that thought go through your mind even for once? Because 60% is a huge number.
Yeah.
And expats that too. So that means 40% were the only localites who were coming. So did you ever think that I shouldn't have done this? Did you feel like you need to step back a bit and then revise, remodule everything?
Then again, it is a negative motivation which worked, I guess.
Right.
So after launch, within a week's time, some friends who are in the hotel industry, they came to dine in and they told me, Bhagi, I'm sure after 1 or 2 years, maybe after 1 year, you will convert this place into multi-cuisine. And some people said, you will start making biryani. So I'm not belittling any of the cuisines that we serve here. At the same time, I chose a concept. I wanted to stick to it.
And you want to live by it. Fair
Sanctity has to be maintained, and I don't want to dilute. But at the same time, I respect the local flavor, local preferences of guests. So we had certain dishes which are even till today we've maintained that the Indians who are used only to Indian dishes, they enjoy those dishes. We've customized it, not using Indian ingredients, Indian spices, but European herbs and vegetables, palatable. By
The touch
Indian.
is still there.
Yeah.
So it is still, we can say that it's a very authentic European cuisine restaurant.
Yes.
No doubts on that. Right.
No.
Can you brief us on how banking industry sees food and beverage industry as such? Do they see this as a loss-making industry, or do they see this as profit-making but long tenure?
Definitely, all the bankers know it's not a profit-making venture.
Right. Is it specific
Unless
to Chennai only, or throughout India? Is what is your perspective on it?
throughout the world,
Okay.
throughout the world, the data says the survival rates are very, very minimal compared to other industries. Um, Indian food scenario is definitely it's growing, but not up to the mark. And Chennai, definitely not like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and other cosmopolitan
Yeah.
cities.
I must say, because in the last 10 years, a lot of people in my context have started some kind of cafe or restaurant, and by now it's already shut. And in my context, you're the one who's surviving. So it's very obvious that you are aware about the ground level realities, and somehow you sail through it. So, in today's scenario, you think there are other options also when it comes to maybe taking loans, or taking some kind of revenue, or maybe some kind of monetary from somebody? We have investors, we have private sources also. Earlier, there was only banking, which was more
There are
focused
plenty
upon.
of options available. I'm still looking for the best one. Happened to me, but it's still not
It's still not
happening.
happened.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm still knocking at the bankers' doors only. After COVID, the situation is very bad. Um, uh, Very shocking revelation is like government is saying all the restructured loans due to COVID, if there is a mention of restructured due to COVID, it should not be considered for any negative by bankers. That's the instruction given. But the word restructure ruined my
Minds of people.
so almost from 2020 till 23, what I went through, I don't think any restaurant owner in future should go through. A lot of lapses, and I'll give you an example. That's exactly what happened in my life. I took a loan, very small amount, not a big amount, from a leading bank, X bank, okay. And I took, and then there was an MSME scheme which was announced by both the governments, and I approached, and they said you can only if you plan to expand, we'll be able to support you. I said, okay, let me expand. And anyhow, OMR food culture is picking
Yeah,
up.
there are a
And
lot of migrants also live there.
yes,
IT industry is booming there. Yeah.
yes. So I said, okay, futuristic thing is happening. So let me try my hands. And I approached a bank. They sanctioned verbally. They said, okay, go ahead. But when it came to the disbursement part, they said, no, you have to close. Before that, I took a loan. During COVID, there was no income from the restaurant, so I had to restructure. I didn't even understand the term restructuring
Right.
because I never went through any of those things before that, prior to pandemic. So these people kept coming to our restaurant every day. Manager, collection manager. It was all new thing for me. I wasn't scared because I wasn't making any mistake. I wasn't trying to do it intentionally. So I tried explaining. They took pity on me and they said, "Madam, there'll be an option. Government is going to release some this thing GO, and once it comes, we'll try to help you." So I thought some help is coming from the bank, but the help was restructuring, okay, and moratorium and restructuring. I didn't know, and a few of my CA friends told me, don't restructure. But what else? What other option I have?
There
I
was
didn't
no
have.
option at all.
There was no option, so completely restructured 2 of my loans. And then I continued my business, went to another bank for expansion. They approved initially, and then they said, finally, before disbursement, no, you have to close that loan,
Okay.
restructured loan. If restructured loan is in your CIBIL, we won't be able to give you any sort of, even 1 rupee also we won't be able to release. I didn't have an option.
You had to follow the instructions that were
Yeah.
given by the bank.
And I went back to this bank X. I closed that loan. One of my friends helped me with that because I told him I'm getting another loan, so I'll repay you. I went to this X bank, closed it. Unfortunately, that bank sold my loan account, it was their asset, to another NBFC, which I never heard of.
Which
I
you were
didn't know
not
that.
aware and which were kept in dark.
Yes.
Okay.
So I closed that loan, got the loan statement, zero balance,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Went back and submitted to this new bank. They scrutinized my papers, and then they asked me, no, you still have one loan open. I said, no. They said, no, there is an NBFC in your CIBIL account. So I was wondering, and 1 month I was going pillar to post to understand what that NBFC is, because they don't have an office here. They have office in Bombay. I kept writing to them. They have so many divisions. So I did not know which division should I write to. So went back to this X bank. They said, we don't have any relationship with you because your account is closed with us. Then after a month of this nightmarish thing, I found out that there was some correlation, and the reference number given in that loan account number was mentioned in this NBFC's account. So I went back to this X. I said, please check with your higher ups if there is any relation with that NBFC. After a week's time, they came back to me saying, yeah, we sold your account to that NBFC. I said, how could you do that? No, we got your this thing while signing all the agreements, loan agreement. You sign, you approve of all that. So we have every right to sell our assets to another NBFC. I said, okay, you sold it. You have every right to do whatever you want to do.
Because
You
it's
took
bothering your CIBIL.
Not just that. I asked, then why did you take my money now? You should have redirected me to that NBFC saying, we have sold your account to this NBFC. Please settle their, settle their amount. You didn't do that. Now, after 1 month of all these trials and this, I'm coming back to you. Now you're saying this. They couldn't help because the manager sitting there at the branch also didn't know that
That
such
this
thing
has happened.
existed. They said only management, higher management knew this, and after your case, we were notified of this. That was a shocker. Then I said I have to write to Ombudsman. This nothing helped. Nothing helped. That's a very, very sad part. After all this, I'm living in Chennai city. To some extent, I'm aware of things that are happening in financial sector. But imagine.
In spite of all this, something new has popped up, and
Yes.
it has taken a long time for you to come out of that.
It affected, it's still affecting me now.
Right.
Financially, that track record, that is, even then I had to post something in social media. Then those two companies came to me saying, please remove it because we will correct the CIBIL. And then they didn't, even till date, they didn't correct my CIBIL. They, they've written something different than this. They shouldn't put
Just to cover up things.
They shouldn't put purchased and sold because it wasn't the case. So, but they mentioned still affecting my CIBIL. So, I'm still fighting.
How does the law help here? Do you really think going to a lawyer and him handling this kind of a case will make more sense, or you feel that as an individual it's better to put it out? Because
See,
either
people are
ways the money
saying-
is going to go.
People are saying only Ombudsman is the way. I've approached even the existing new bank also. I'm having some problem. They've also made some mistake. I've written to nodal officer. I've written to Sybil directly requesting them to intervene. Nothing helped. And RBI will look into this matter only after 1 month of
Complaint?
some feedback from the bank, which is
Right.
not happening. There's no feedback. So what will I go? If I go to a lawyer again against that particular loan account, they'll say legal dispute.
So the
Which
entire
will
system
affect
itself is not in sync with each other, is what you believe.
exactly.
Okay.
And this is not in not few crore or something. It's just few lakhs.
Few lakhs.
Few lakhs. It is not even 1/3 of our turnover. Not even 1/3. 1/4 of
Do
our
you
turnover.
think this is a very common problem that any restaurant owner is facing, or do you
Not
think
just restaurant owner.
anybody for this matter?
Yeah, anybody who has taken loan from banks pre-COVID, I think the restructure, that term itself is
So the lack of awareness and I would say the proper law has not been made to cope up with something like this.
law is there.
Access to the higher authority is also not there.
Yeah, law is there, Shiv. Interpretation of each law is different.
Very different.
Varies from branch manager to branch manager. The branch itself, branch manager will understand it differently, and the assistant branch manager will understand it differently, and the MSME. I really don't know. Sometimes I think it's better to take private loans instead of banks.
Because it will be stress free and you just have to deal with one person.
One person, and though the interest rates are very high, it's safe this way.
So organizational discipline is the major concern. What do you think? Because when there's an organization, you have a lot of guidelines, policies, frameworks
Yeah,
to
they
be
are all
followed.
governed by RBI, and now I think, I don't know whether I can say this openly. Earlier, when we were in school and college days, bank job means 10 to 5 and a very easy job. Now it's not so. Everybody is stressed, and they have targets to achieve. They just want to close a case. Like, suppose I escalate something to a banker, they reply to my message, but they're not closing, they're not giving me any
They are
resolution.
closing that day. They are not closing the case.
Exactly. So the pain continues. And how long we can fight? After a point, we give up, right?
Right.
We have to, and especially restaurant business, it's a micro level management industry. You cannot afford to step out of your business entity if you really want to be making some money, a name. You have to be in the premises. And with the digitization and all this, it is not helping much.
Right.
Imagine a person like me sitting in the center of the city and having access to all kinds of people. I'm not able to
Still
do it.
unable to solve the problem.
Yes. Tier 2, Tier 3 organization, people who are not aware of this, how many are suffering still, we don't know.
Exactly.
And who will address that? I'm not sure. So that's the reason why I really want to share this piece of information, because people who are struggling after COVID, I want them to know, want them to go through each and every line of their
What
credit
documents
report.
they are signing, especially
is
with
one.
the banking.
Yes, that is one. Another thing is their credit report. There are not just Sibyl, there are so many other, TransUnion, and there are so many other organizations. They have to go through line by line, because recently somebody said your credit report in 2009, some credit card, I have credit balance. It's not closed, that's all. It's open, but I don't owe to that.
Obviously, back then we didn't have much
Yeah,
things on plates.
they had to pay me, but
Yeah.
that account was not closed.
Right.
So it is still appearing. They're saying you have to close it. So like that, there are so many things we are not aware of it. Why can't be just single window system, simple, easy? So many entrepreneurs can come, and startups can happen. So unless your this is determination is there,
It was.
challenging. But I never, not even a single moment, I thought of quitting, because
Yeah.
this is an addiction, I would say. Meeting customers.
Whatever
and
said and done, the show must go on.
go on.
There was a time when delivery was also handled by the restaurant
Restaurateurs.
itself. I still remember, people wearing that uniform of the restaurant. They used to go deliver. And to be honest, it was rarely a scene where we used to dial up people and ask them to deliver the food to our place. It used to happen, but not at that great scale.
True.
Suddenly, after 2015, there comes this app which started as a directory where they used to tell us, okay, this area, this restaurant is there, this food corner is there.
Only for dine-in.
Only for dining. You just have to see and maybe go there, maybe some discount here and there. Then came a time where they started getting into the system where a layer got added where customers can place the order through the app.
Yeah.
How did it affect the F&B industry? Was it a revolutionary idea for the customers, or was it a very bad idea from a restaurant owner perspective? How do you see this? Did it help in growing the business?
Initially, when we launched, it was really helping because we were listed in most of the platforms and brought some traction to our restaurant. And any modern cafes or restaurants, they got their own mileage. After a few years, we started realizing that it was like, I personally felt it was like a trap, like it was exploitative in nature, and family outing, especially for
It was
a
very
restaurant.
occasional.
Yeah, for a special birthday or anniversary or
yeah.
something, they used to go out. It wasn't like Singapore or other advanced countries where eating out is 99%. And here, it was very rare scenario. Now, when that started happening, all these apps had to play their own this thing, and they wanted to take leverage out of their data and control over such data. Where I really don't agree is we are giving them access, to our customers, but we do not have access to our customers. Through which platform should we place orders? So we tell them XYZ, they place order, and their data completely is with.
So you mean to say this is the restaurant, this is the platform, and this is the customer.
Yeah.
The restaurant do not get access to which customer this order is going.
No.
Okay.
No, we get the name. Okay. Not beyond that.
Not
name
beyond
and
that.
the location. That's all.
So no
So
phone
that's
number, no email IDs, nothing.
Nothing.
All right.
Only when there is a complaint,
Okay.
they'll give us, and that too, they'll be the middlemen. Through a con call, we resolve it.
Right.
So I think it's not fair. Both sides should have access. We are open to share our database, and we are sharing already. So please share the critical data of customers so that we also grow. And during pandemic, there was a big war. We were all, we literally suffered because the revenue they were generating from the delivery business was more than what restaurants were getting. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So just
margins
for
were
my
high.
understanding, was the menu separate in all these online apps, food apps, or is it the same menu with same pricing that it's been put up across?
Each restaurant has its own policy, and as far as Basil the Twist is concerned, it's the same menu.
Okay. The
Okay.
pricing is also the same.
Pricing is the same, though there are recommendations to hike the price because of the margins these platforms are getting,
Right.
plus the packaging cost.
The margins are also being made from the customer who's ordering. Like for example, when I order, I could clearly see that there's a platform fee, there's some kind of convenience fee, and also they are taking the transportation fees from us itself.
Yes.
So they are making a part money from us also, and I think they must be taking some kind of commission from your end.
Yeah, but there's no
Right.
clarity, you know, like when you place an order, suppose you're buying something for 1,000 rupees, you will not know how much is coming to us directly, how much is technology partners' cost. So you'll only blame the restaurant if you're not happy with it, or you'll only complain that this place is charging so much, but there's so many things are involved. Like we agree, you know, even if you keep a certain percentage, there is a community now, these riders, they need to make their livelihood out of it. All
Correct.
that is fine. We have to accept that, okay? Employment and their lifestyle. Even during monsoon, no, we saw them
I
in
think it's become
uniform
a
and
newfound profession for a lot of people.
yes,
Especially, I've seen college goers who have taken this up as a part time business. A lot of IT people have taken this as a part time
part time.
business.
True.
So, it is definitely a survival factor that is chipping in.
Yes.
But there is obviously a dark story.
Yes.
And behind it, I feel that as much as money they are taking from us, they are also keeping their share from the restaurant also. So in that case, they must be making 40% margins, I believe.
In some cases, it is
Yes.
so, and
Okay.
it is more than that also in some places. But we are keeping the same. This, though the packaging cost has gone up,
Okay.
we stopped using plastics predominantly. We are using only bio tubs and.
Okay. Is it
and
because of government regulations or
our
it was
choice?
okay? It was your own
Plastic,
choice.
yeah, plastic items are still uh, allowed because they maintain certain microns and all
Right.
that. So
Right.
food grade plastic and government approved plastic products, but we started avoiding because
Right.
when you pour hot stuff to it, it reacts.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we cannot avoid plastic completely, but at the same time, when there is earlier these options were not available, paper
Right.
products were not available. So now it started coming in, and it's helping. It's helping the restaurant business.
What is your opinion on, say, these food apps are basically up to every restaurant that is there in the city? It could be a food street, or it could be a cloud kitchen, or it could be roadside food joints also, right? And then there are premium ones, established ones, and different categories.
Yeah.
All are judged by only one aspect, which is the reviews. Like when I see my friends order something, they don't care how the place looks, they just care what is the review. From your perspective as a restaurant owner, do you see this as something which is unfair for somebody who is struggling and keeping their game going with by following all the rules regulations? Because a guy who is selling something on road, he is not following any law that is applicable. But people are getting carried away with the kind of pictures that are being put in these apps.
Online.
Yeah, and people who are actually doing it in the right way are the real sufferers.
Yeah.
So, what is your opinion of in this regards, where everything is clubbed under one app, and people have to just go by the reviews?
Thanks for asking this question. Honestly, I tell you, because this has been my concern for a long time, and I'm sure there are stalwarts, and they've been discussing this in every forum. Our concern is like in terms of licensing procedure, like FSSI or other food safety measures, we have one standard. This you can apply online and get yourself certified, okay, to serve food. There's no gradation. Like now, these food apps, few of them have two classification. One is gourmet, the other one is this. But customers do not really get to see in what segment and what kind of, is it a kitchen or is it a cloud kitchen? Is it just a street vendor, or is it a proper restaurant, or is it a 5-star property?
There's no details that are being put up in the
No,
app.
they can't. And so that is definitely a major this to be addressed by the authorities. Because
Because any Tom, Dick, Harry is able to register in the app.
Yeah.
It may be a little prolonged process, but at the end of the day, a small shop is also a part of these food apps, and there is no control over anything. Either because the authorities are not technologically driven by what is happening, and these apps are so advanced
Yeah.
that they're not able to catch hold of the people.
Exactly. Population.
Yeah,
The number of
yeah,
food joints that are coming up, our authorities may not be able to inspect every outlet.
right.
Okay, it's like the ratio between public and police. That's how it is. They cannot catch hold of every outlet that is serving substandard food. Uh, I do not know in other foreign countries. They have very strict regulation, and
Correct.
if there's one slight deviation, also you'll be behind bars.
Hmm.
Here we have laws, but uh, these food apps should start working in that direction. They should have a standard. This see, unless you meet these standards, we won't support you. We won't list you in our platform. It has to. It is a responsibility of any food handler, right?
Right.
So it's not about any other product, it's food. So obviously that responsibility should come from every stakeholder in the whole process.
Correct. Which is not coming from these
Coming
apps.
from these apps.
Right.
So not just this government agencies who are approving all these licenses, but also these they have certain standards. It is like that's another revenue model.
Correct. Correct.
They are looking at it that way. They give you certificate. Okay, these platforms give you certificate, and they charge you for that, but
Correct.
there's no monitoring. That shouldn't be the case. It has to be a constant monitoring, checking every now and then,
Which I don't think is happening, because once upon a time, uh, consumers, how they used to see is, suppose this particular food joint is there, which is located, say, on the roadside. Only a group of people will go and have it. It is known that only these kind of people will go and have it. Now, same food joint, the IT people are also going and having. People are getting off the car and going and buying. Absolutely no rules, regulations, no food policies are being maintained. Do you think these apps in the market have spoiled the rhythm, also the food pattern of people?
they are also one of the contributors.
Right.
Definitely, they should not
Right.
encourage such places. See, if the water is being reused for washing vessels,
Correct.
if the ingredients, water source for cooking is not approved by approved generally by
Correct.
government or anybody. So all these things have to be factored in
Okay.
before they enroll.
Okay.
All they want is FSSI certificate, which is available.
So like it's everything done for on paper activities.
Correct.
Back of the mind, the thinking is very different. They are just wanting to see how much business they can
How
generate.
many outlets they can enroll in, and how to improve their sales, all that. But there is a gap where government cannot fulfill everything in this, and each stakeholder, restaurant owners, even customers.
There are no laws for moral responsibilities, is what I feel in India. We can have laws for, we can have a SOPs in place.
Yes.
But moral responsibility, I don't think any government
Subject
across
to
any country,
individuals,
it is subjected to that particular person. Traveling to Bangalore often, and I have come across the fact that people out there have more acceptance towards trying new food, trying new places, let it be on road or inside the shopping mall or a standalone restaurant. You will find crowd everywhere, including tea shops. They will serve fancy teas. The packaging would be really fancy. The way they serve would be something really great. It has got a lot to do with the ambience also and the quality of the food also. I don't see that kind of acceptance in other south states, especially Chennai. And in fact, a lot of people that I have spoken to who have invested in cloud kitchen or are sleeping partners in few of these restaurants in and around are not finding it Chennai as an investment spot because there's lack of acceptance from people. What is your opinion on this? Like if you see Saravana Bhavan, once upon a time dominated the entire F&B industry in Chennai. It must be the case outside Chennai also. Every state, I mean every road or every area had, and all of us had a common understanding that if it's noon, then let's just go there and have meals.
Exactly.
Today, I think it's declined to a greatest extent, and we see a rise of
Other
other
brands,
brands
same
coming
space.
in the same space. Do you think because there's a decline in the noted brands, now we have people trying to experiment with other available new and fresh brands in the market?
I'll break this into two topics. One is about, specifically you mentioned about Saravana Bhavan. Thanks once again for bringing that name, because that was my first inspiration to get into this
Right.
hospitality, because way back in early 2000s, Saravana Bhavan was the only go-to place during weekends.
Correct.
Okay, and the kind of hygiene standards they maintain.
Yeah, which was
Okay, and the choices, yes, the quality of food, personalized, all that made a huge impact on my mind those days. I decided that time itself, probably when my son finishes his graduation, I will get into food industry, and I will do something like this, not in terms of South Indian or this cuisine. I wasn't very sure of that then, but some new concept, but will follow Saravana Bhavan in terms of hygiene and
hygiene and
cleanliness
other
and
patterns.
quality. Okay. Unfortunately, they do not enjoy the same gloriful this now at the
Yes.
moment. Could be various reasons. I think recently I read somewhere they are reviving, and they
But
are
I think
trying
it's already
to.
too late because people have already moved on from it.
There's always the second part of my this is market is growing. It's widening, and everybody will have their own space. So who knows, Saravana Bhavan tomorrow.
They can make a comeback, is what you're saying.
100%. If their family puts in their
The
soul
best.
and heart, like
Yeah.
how their father or grandfather did, definitely it is a possibility, because see, you do not belong to our generation. Okay, you're still talking about that, and our generation, our father's generation, relished Saravana Bhavan,
Correct.
and they can come back, they can bounce back. Okay.
Correct.
Suppose I tell you, Delhi airport, there is Saravana Bhavan,
Yes.
there's Starbucks. Which one will you
Any day
prefer?
Saravana Bhavan.
Yeah.
Not just Delhi, even outside country, the first preference is always given to Saravana Bhavan.
Yeah. So if the quality and this is maintained, definitely anybody, even after you know, ups and lows, saturation point, product life cycle, company's life cycle, all this MBA and all that stuff, still there. There's always an opportunity to
Right.
bounce back, and with that kind of legacy, I'm sure in no time, if
So
they.
you do see a possibility of them coming back with an even more stronger game.
They should.
Right.
It's good for
No, it's good for.
consumers,
I mean,
right?
it's an iconic brand at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and
if they
it
have
feels,
4 or 5
yeah.
brands like that, focusing on South Indian this, it's good. And international, how many foreigners, they relish dosas, they
Correct.
relish their puris, and my
So they were the ones who set a benchmark
exactly
to the outside world
outside,
that
yes,
we exist and we provide you this authentic
yes.
South Indian food. Right.
So
So there's always a second chance, is what
second
you feel.
chance, and market is growing, and slowly in few years cooking will be a scarce thing, and in
Of course.
Chennai household,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
your future family, I don't think anybody will cook like how we used to do at home. So restaurants will have good time.
you you also put an advertisement saying that we take up event catering also
Yeah.
in general. Does it come as a subsidiary along with it, or there has to be a special focus that needs to be given in order to start this line of business?
Other cuisine, South Indian, North Indian, and other Thai also to some extent, they all can do catering comfortably. Chinese, they can do comfortably, but when it comes to European or Italian for that matter, it's not easy to cater to hundreds of people,
Right.
thousands of people, the same with the
That's not
same
possible,
quality.
is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I mean, it is going to be possible the near future because of the equipment and accessories that we are going to that's going to be available in the market. As of now, in Chennai, you cannot make hundreds of pizzas in a wedding hall. It's still a challenge.
Okay.
You have to shift equipment, and that hall has to have necessary electrical
Supply
requirements.
chain. Okay.
So there are a
So the
lot of
logistics
things.
is the major concern when it comes to catering unit of this
Logistics and again it cannot be buffet, right? Lasagna,
Yeah, it
after
cannot
some
be
time,
buffet. It
it's
has to be served.
very very exclusive,
Right.
and that's why we do not undertake more than 50 or 60 guest size.
So there is a cap to it,
Yes.
and till the time logistics are sorted, I don't think the
Yeah.
numbers are going to be big enough.
Maybe there are some equipment which I'm not aware of. Maybe I'm not able to afford at the moment.
Okay.
So, but we'll keep working on that, and we can bring in. See, earlier microwave was available. Microwave oven was available very rarely. Now, every household has it. So, like that, I think even wedding halls or any
Yeah, the technology is
hall
growing
will have-
rapidly.
they will invest in combi
Right.
ovens, they'll invest in industrial this thing, so that the caterer can go the previous day and make everything there, and including breads and other stuff, and Italian style wedding
possible.
can happen. Yes. Okay.
But as an entrepreneur, I always feel that mental state of a person is also very important in the journey. As much as good things that this field can bring, there are a lot of bad things which come all your way. And I've seen you how spiritually inclined you are. How has spirituality benefited you in terms of work and in terms of mindset to cope up with all the challenges that you foresee, or and the challenges that you may not even foresee?
For me, it's very, very important. And because of my spiritual involvement, I'm able to survive. I'm able to hold the hope that I've always been having. I'm still having great masters in my life to guide me every minute, every testing time. Okay. And we survived COVID. I survived after my
Two floods, I guess,
two floods and
and
a lot of other.
lot of other aspects. So people who are wanting to get into this business, where they are wanting to have their own restaurant, what are the two things or two messages that you would want to let them know?
I'm still work in progress.
Right.
Okay. 10 years of experience I can share where I really learned something, and which can be passed on to future generation. One thing is you should be passionate about what you're doing.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. This is now I see, my passion is this, my passion is this. There's so many people saying, but they're not able to sustain that intensity for a longer period of time.
Do you think it's a fake passion in them which is driven by materialistic things that are coming on social media, which is something which is not reality is driving them in that direction?
They do not understand what passion means.
Right.
They just want to say, somebody has said, this is their passion, this is his passion, so let me also have some passion like this. No, I think,
Some kind of peer pressure.
yeah, peer pressure. I should also have one,
Yeah,
and
because the world does, I am supposed to
yes.
have one.
I was not passionate about this industry when I was 21, 22. When I started learning things around me, this space, this hospitality space really uh, gave me something like um, soul searching thing, I
You
would
found
say.
your soul purpose.
Yeah, yeah. I think I inherited that from my mother because she was always hospitable and naturally hospitable. And nobody need to train anybody to be hospitable. But here we have great schools teaching how to be hospitable. So that quality, is very much required for any restaurateur. You
Right.
have to be hospitable and passionate about it. The second one is any entrepreneur, not just a restaurateur. You have to know little bit of everything that is happening in your business. If it's a production, in finance department, in marketing, you have to be an all-rounder. You don't have to be expert in everything, but at least you should know that.
Little of everything one is supposed to know.
Yeah,
What is related
because
to your business?
if somebody tries to take advantage of your ignorance in some department, at least you should be aware. Now, because of my lack of financial this, I got into the trouble of this restructuring and all that. If I'd had, I didn't have option though during pandemic, but I wasn't even aware of that terminology and the implications that it's going to bring to my case. So everybody should know a bit of marketing, bit of financial discipline and kitchen, housekeeping, everything. And you should know what is happening in the industry where you are. And that's very important.
Market expertise and ground level realities has to be
We call it
well versed.
MIS,
Okay.
market intelligence system. You should be aware of what is happening around, and at least your industry, if not political or sport, at least your industry, you should,
We should
know
be aware of it.
what is happening in Delhi. It's not Delhi, the remote place. The very next day, it will happen in
It
your
can
city.
happen here also.
Yes.
Fair
So
enough.
be prepared for it. So what is happening in the US might impact you tomorrow here. So all that, everything is interconnected with the local and the global. This, I think, every small economic activity that is being carried out.
People should know about it.
Yes, Russian-Ukraine war. We don't have to reason out all that, but at least in financial sector, how it's going to impact, how it's going to impact the trade relationship to some extent, because it's very important for us to become somebody. You can run your business, you can comfortably run your business, but to become a brand, to bring in some reputation to your brand, you have to keep learning.
Keep learning. For example, I wish to become an entrepreneur in F&B industry. I want to start a restaurant. Is it necessary for me to learn, or I should be knowing how to cook? Is it a non-negotiable thing? What is it could be a lame question, but I still wanted to ask you.
Cooking is very interesting. Learn it, no? So it's a beautiful process, okay? But you need not learn. You need not learn.
So it's not necessary to learn at all.
Not
Okay.
necessary. There are experts, there are chefs. Our culinary expertise from India, I think they are
The best.
far above, yes. Their understanding about each and every ingredient and how it behaves, that is such it comes from a great wisdom, I guess. Indian spices and herbs, world, I don't think even 25% of its the significance has reached the world. But our chefs have been using this, and they are incorporating all these spices and herbs and other ingredients, Indian indigenous ingredients, in international cuisine. So definitely in the next decade or two, Indian chefs will have a grain this in world gastronomical map.
What is that one message which you want to give to the people from your perspective? Probably it could be one motivational thought, or could be one of your life experiences, or something that you strongly believe in, and you feel that that would also work for somebody who's going to listen to this podcast. Like a very simple and short message that you could give it to us.
My favorite word is always gratitude, okay, for what we have. And stay a great listener, whether it is a small feedback from the customer or an employee or a banker or anybody for that matter. Just listen to them and think a lot, okay, introspect, process, apply it. That's the only way I think will take you to great heights. And my mantra so far in my life, not just as a restaurant owner, has been gratitude, of course, has always been there, and determination and hard work.
Rightly
And
said.
I don't want to say even hard work, because when we love our work so much, see, you do this, you are in social media, there's influencer marketing for a long time, okay? You've been doing that with so much of focus and attention. If somebody says, okay, in real estate business, you can earn 10 times of what you're earning in this, so come join me, I want you here. Will you take a call to move to that space?
Not obviously
So
not.
what is stopping you?
Because the interest and passion towards the work is
Passion,
going
no?
on.
That love. So when you love your job, you don't think this. So the real estate guy will think
Will
that
not
you
be
are really.
opportunistic.
He will only think, oh, you're working so hard. You're working round the clock, but you're not getting what I am getting. Why don't you come in and join? But it is
That's not
just
my
not
passion.
that. Yeah,
Right.
there's no hard work. It's just work which is actually passion. Take small steps, baby steps. I've done it. I've taken only baby steps, and I haven't achieved even 1/4 of where I want to go, but let me see. God willing.
You're on your way, but
Yes. Journey has been so meaningful, enriching.
rightly said. So I think we have discussed so much today, both on professional and personal front. I think we have so much to give to our audience, and thanks for making it all the way to my podcast. And I hope this brings a lot of insights to the people who wants to get into this field and wants to be the trendsetter in this. So I'm pretty sure all the information, all the insights that I've given is going to benefit somebody or the other in some part of the world. So thank you all the way to making it to my podcast, and have a great journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Shiv. You've always been kind to me, and you've given me an opportunity to express myself. That's how I see it, and wishing you all the best.
Thank
once
you.
again.
Thanks a lot.